Maybe that's what we need. Like an undead A-Rod breaks the huddle where he's like, he just starts walking up to the line. All right, everybody, welcome into our Pittsburgh Podcast presented by Better Call Cy. I am your host, Bill Crawford. I hope everybody enjoyed their holiday weekend. It was kind of a disaster as far as travel was concerned, or at least it was back on Thursday when I was watching the news. It was like, sinkholes at LaGuardia. There's a water main break and a gas leak at LAX. It's raining like it's the movie Seven here in Pittsburgh. Gas is $5 a G. Not exactly the best kickoff to summer. It's kind of like the kickoff in the movie Dark Knight Rises where the field implodes. By the way, that kickoff in the movie Dark Knight Rises is kicked off by former Mayor Luke Ravenstahl to Hines Ward. Now, I don't know if it was actually Luke Ravenstahl in the jersey. It said Ravenstahl on the back, but if it was, hell of a leg on Luke. I actually know Luke and could have easily found that out. So that's my bad. I'll find that out for you and report back. Before we get going here, I just want to say that I'm grateful for everybody who fought for our country and paid the ultimate price, and all of the families that have been affected over the years. I think Pittsburgh does a really good job at memorializing our fallen heroes. Soldiers and Sailors does such a great job, and they have an all-day event there. I know they do a tolling of the bells down at the Submarine. I know Lawrenceville does their annual Memorial Day parade, and all the other neighborhoods are chipping in with their own remembrances and celebrations. And I was reading up on Memorial Day and the history of it and trying to figure out why in the hell it went from a day of remembrance to a day of unforgettable sales. Like, how the hell did that happen? Because it started as Decoration Day a few years after the Civil War, just to decorate the graves of fallen Union soldiers. And somehow now it's a way to kick off the summer. It seems kind of insensitive. It's hard. I don't know how to feel emotionally. It's like, yeah, Pap did die storming the beaches of Normandy, but not even storming is going to stop us from opening Sandcastle this weekend. Actually, we are going to maybe delay opening Sandcastle because of the storming. How did we go from honoring and decorating the graves of the fallen to barbecues and blowout mattress sales? And what marketing agency had the balls to suggest it? Like, who was the first guy to be like, listen, guys, I know that this is meant to be a solemn day of reflection, but hear me out. What if we just took 30 to 40% off all our pillow tops? No, I know that it's a day meant for men and women who died heroically and selflessly, flinging themselves in between our nation and our nation's would-be destroyers. I'm simply asking if we can honor them, the people that are eternally at rest, and also cut a screaming deal to the people who want to get beauty rest. That's all I'm asking. Oh, I'm insensitive, Todd? I'm insensitive? You're insensitive. Did you know that the average person spends 36 years of their life in bed? Do you want the average person to spend 36 years uncomfortable, Todd, because you can't walk and chew gum at the same time? Of course, we're going to get some red, white, and blue balloons and streamers out front, Janet. We're not monsters, but we've got to get rid of last year's stuff. And I'm the only one with enough courage to start workshopping ideas here. The best that I could figure out is that it was the Uniform Monday Holiday Act of 1968 that didn't take place until 1971. That's how we are where we are right now. That's how all federal holidays got moved to being celebrated on a Monday. Everything from Columbus Day to Washington's birthday before it was President's Day. all of these holidays, Veterans Day. It was done for the sole purpose of getting people to travel and spend money. So the government actually started this whole thing. They want you out there spending your hard-earned cash. So I hope that you did that. I hope that, you remembered the unnamed soldier. And then I hope you went to Levin and got some of their deals, because some of those Ottomans guys, they're selling themselves pretty much. What else? Big week last week for your Pittsburgh Steelers. A-Rod signs with the Steelers, shows up to OTAs. I want to talk about the incentives of his deal and some of maybe his personal incentives and reasons for coming back. But first, I want to just pull back the curtain for you guys a little bit. Last week, we recorded our podcast. We recorded it before he had showed up to OTAs. And so when we were editing the episode together, I said that he didn't show up to OTAs, and I was like, it's not that big of a deal. We'll just put out a clip. People aren't going to care that much. Turns out people cared. People cared a lot. I forgot that this is Pittsburgh, and people will fact check you to death in these streets. And so you have our apology. You have our attention, and we will pay respect to the details on our Pittsburgh podcast moving forward. I thought that was really funny. And actually, Larry Richert showed up to Cool Cones up in North Park to interview the girl that waited on Aaron Rodgers. And so we have to correct another record. Shout out to Larry Richert for doing the hard journalism here. And he actually got it wrong too. He said Cool Zone, and it's Cool Cones. I hate to be the one to point that out, but everybody's pointing out every mistake I make, so I guess we all have to hold each other accountable. It's not a big deal at all. And it turns out that A-Rod's actual order, not soft serve and rainbow sprinkles like I had reported, because I'm a reporter, so I have to be held to the strictest of standards. But his actual order was a Butterfinger freeze, a strawberry pretzel salad freeze, and a vanilla milkshake. Now, that sounds more like Mike McCarthy's order than it does A-Rod's, and people think that A-Rod might be in some kind of throuple. I actually think that he's taking all these home and freezing them. Like, I don't think this guy goes out more than once a month. I don't think he wants to be seen. He moves in a stealthy way. Somehow he was evading all would-be citizen journalists and would-be snipers from finding him or discovering him here in Pittsburgh, but he's been here since May. Where's he hanging out? Anybody with any information, please email us at ourpittsburghpodcast@gmail.com. We got to find this out. He also announced in his press conference last week that this is it, meaning that this is his last season. So this is his This Is It tour. And I hope it doesn't end like Michael Jackson's This Is It tour, because as you guys know, he died before that tour actually happened. So I hope that this season goes better for A-Rod. But I don't know. Maybe a Thriller situation is what's going to get us over the hump. I mean, it doesn't seem like anybody alive has been able to win the Steelers a playoff game. Maybe that's what we need. Like an undead A-Rod? Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see that. He breaks the huddle where he's like, he just starts walking up to the line. Oh my God, we need that. We need an undead A-Rod. That is way better than a Perk Rodgers. More than anything, I hope it's not bad, right? Because at the end of the season, he's going to beat it. I hope that it goes well. And honestly, I think it is going to go well. Like I said last week, much improved roster on the offensive side of the ball. Mike McCarthy, the offensive-minded coach. I've got a real good feeling about this. And why shouldn't I? It is May. This is the time to be delusional. This is the time to talk yourself into that kind of stuff. Just a quick side note, talking about MJ. I did see the Michael Jackson movie. It's called Michael in the theaters. And I don't know if you guys know this, but the director of that movie is Antoine Fuqua, who is a Pittsburgh guy. You want to talk Pittsburgh? This guy was born in the Hill District. His mother worked for H.J. Heinz. He moved to Homewood. He ended up going to Taylor Alderdice. His company's name is Hill District Media. Okay. A couple of weeks ago, whenever I put out one of my first clips from our Pittsburgh podcast about Reisenstein Elementary School, Wiz Khalifa, who went to Alderdice, but I didn't know, actually also went to Reisenstein, commented on that video and said, hey, I went to the Stein too. That shit was like Dangerous Minds. Okay. Antoine Fuqua directed the music video Gangsta's Paradise by Coolio that was in the movie Dangerous Minds. So you have Antoine Fuqua that went to Alderdice, Wiz Khalifa commenting on my video who went to Alderdice, and me who made the video who went to Alderdice. Just the Pittsburgh connections are off the charts. And oh, by the way, Antoine Fuqua's cousin was Frenchie Fuqua, who the ball bounced off of in the Immaculate Reception. Unbelievable. Like, the Pittsburgh is off the charts. I saw the interview that he did with Bill Cowher. It's Conversations with Coach Cowher. WQED is doing it. Highly recommend you guys go check that out if you haven't seen it already. Gardell did an episode. Mark Cuban did an episode. And Antoine Fuqua did an episode. They're really, really good conversations, and it's awesome that people are sitting down and talking to Cowher about Pittsburgh things. So anyways, I go to see the movie Michael a weekend ago with my girlfriend and our two youngest daughters. And we're having like this weird conversation in the car ride over before we got in there, just up front, to ourselves, and just kind of discussing, like, do we want to get into the whole Michael Jackson story? Like, do we want to tell these girls the full tale at the top, or do we want to just allow them to see this movie and then maybe have some difficult conversations afterwards? Because there was a lot of controversy about the film, saying that it sanded all the hard edges and that they presented the palatable side of a sordid tale. And I think the film verdict said that it had been flattened into nothingness by a team of lawyers and publicists, with the most controversial aspects of Jackson's life largely absent. And they were saying that all it does is glorify his rise and his music. And to those people, all I have to say is, you're right. You're totally right. I mean, they whitewashed the whole thing. And whitewash, I don't mean Michael Jackson, because he actually did whitewash himself. I just mean that they don't talk about any of the difficult aspects of Michael Jackson's life. Like, I thought we were going into that movie and it was going to spark a very difficult conversation in the car ride home. And I came out of that movie like, why? Tell him that the Terminator, why does it matter way? I mean, we were moonwalking to the car. We didn't talk about anything on the way home. All we did on the car ride home was look up more music videos for them to watch. And I understand why people are livid about that. They should be. I feel like I just got brainwashed. All the content I've been seeing for the last week and a half has been nothing but Michael Jackson memes. And it's unbelievable. So I don't know. I'm just saying that it definitely got me. It got me off my rocker and off the game plan, and definitely annihilated any difficult conversations I was going to have with my children. But I saw that Justin Schultz reported, I'm trying to get back on track here and talk about the A-Rod contract. He has $2.5 million in incentives in his contract with the Steelers. And if he plays 75% of the regular season snaps, he can earn the following: $625K for the wild card win, $625K for a divisional round win, $625K for an AFC championship win, and $625K for a Super Bowl win. I think that's great. I don't think it's enough. I think Aaron Rodgers has made like $395 million, according to Over the Cap, in his career. And so I don't know if like we as a city need to match those incentives, maybe visit Pittsburgh. I don't know, get the downtown partnership to chip in. I don't know. I'll talk to some people and figure it out. Maybe the mayor and the governor can be part of the revitalization of Pittsburgh, because winning a playoff game would go a very long way here in Pittsburgh. He's also got some incentives as far as the records are concerned. All he needs is 13 touchdowns to pass Peyton Manning on the all-time TD list, and that's a big deal. I mean, that's significant. He's not going to pass Favre on the all-time passing yards list unless he has over 5,500 yards passing. I don't really see that happening, but I'm excited for this year, and I think it's great that he's back at OTAs. Oh, and speaking of Visit Pittsburgh, they put out their draft numbers. 320,000 fans attended day one of the draft, setting an all-time day one attendance record for the draft. As we know, 805,000 attendees across draft weekend, making it the largest event in NFL history. That's still incredible. More than 55 million viewers tuned in worldwide. 105 countries represented across NFL One Pass registrants. That's like most of the countries. How many countries even are there? I mean, I don't know what we have to do. Maybe this is why Roger Goodell is making such an emphasis on the international games. We got to have a game in Botswana and Mozambique and Azerbaijan, maybe Uzbekistan, and get all these countries into the fray, because that is incredible. 105 countries were up in Pittsburgh for the draft. And what else here? The 2026 NFL Draft Week became the most socially viewed draft on record. In addition, Steelers fans represented 65% of attendees, underscoring the strength and passion of Steeler Nation. Steeler Nation definitely showed up. Pittsburgh people showed up, but just for the draft. Everybody else stayed home. Nobody else went anywhere else, because that's what the small businesses were complaining about. Let's see what else here. Pittsburgh Bureau of EMS, 229 calls for service, 45 hospital transports. That's not bad. Pittsburgh Police, 2 arrests and 1 citation. That is nothing. 2 arrests? We know the people. We have to. Only 2 arrests? That's insane. 805,000 people across the weekend, and all that got arrested were 2 people, 2 jagoffs. You had to be really stupid to get arrested that weekend. Pittsburgh Bureau of Fire, 1 response related to hot grill ashes. Oh my God, that is hilarious. People were tailgating at the draft. Shout out to whoever that was. You know, you didn't cause too much of a hassle. Dear Lord, like these people. I mean, you know, you brought your grill down to the draft. Everybody's worried about getting onto the T, jamming into some kind of public transit. Not you. Whoever you were like, it's me and my grill. We're going mobile. We're getting down there, and we're cooking some dogs in the parking lot. That's amazing. They also announced that they're going to be planting 800 new trees across the region from now through 2027, which I think is incredible, because that's way more than they took down. You know, we got to have the draft here more often, because, I mean, we need more trees. Everybody went crazy about them taking the trees down, but getting 800 back, I think they took out like less than 100 trees, if I'm not mistaken. But I know if I am mistaken, you guys are going to fact check the hell out of me in the comments. So make sure you do that and tell me the exact number of trees that were taken out, please. They're also moving the draft clock. You probably saw that video last week. I don't know where for sure, but I have talked to some people, and I think that you're going to see that clock on the other side of the street, on the Pittsburgh Steelers side of the street, you know, on their property. I don't know what it's going to be displaying. My personal thought, and this is a no-brainer, it's not like this is a crazy idea, is just a countdown to kickoff clock. And then once the season starts, it's just a countdown to game day clock. And then when the season is done, it's just another countdown to kickoff clock, right? Just rinse and repeat. I pitched this idea to the Rooney family and to really anybody from the Steelers that would listen that weekend of the draft, that they should have either an estate sale where they sell off every part of that fan activation in Steelers country, or they do like merchandising with it, because people loved every part of that activation. So, those giant Super Bowl rings, what I was thinking was, how they have like garden gnomes where you put in your yard? Put garden gnomes, but garden Super Bowl rings. I swear to God, I'm not even joking. I would have all 6 in my front yard. How about the terrible car wash? Because that terrible towel installation already kind of looked like a car wash. And I just feel like that would be a really cool, like a Steelers themed car wash. Get your car game day ready. I mean, the marketing is already there. You start Renegade when they go in, and by the time you get out, your car is clean. Come on. I think that the fan cave that they did was so awesome, that 70s fan cave. That should be in the stadium, along with, I think that they should do one for the 80s, the 90s, and the early 2000s as well, because I think fans would line up to take pictures in those fan caves, because those were really, really well done and look so cool. I don't know what they're going to do, but I think whatever they are going to do with that fan activation stuff and the draft clock is going to be pretty cool. And I think you're going to see a lot of that stuff in or around the stadium this upcoming season. And I'm excited about it. And I'm excited that I've been able to hang around with the Steelers and all these different entities and start to learn more about how the city functions. You have all these separate entities that are working together, sort of pulling in the same direction. You got Visit Pittsburgh and the Cultural Trust and P3R and the Pittsburgh Downtown Partnership and River Life and the mayor's office and the sports teams and the governor, all doing their best to try to revitalize the downtown and North Shore areas and make it a great place for us all to hang out. And I just love it. I love the beautification to Point State Park. I love the renovation to Market Square. I love the new park at Arts Landing. I love the shore thing going up on the river, the barge, which originally I thought was like Nonzies. Like I thought it was a non-alcoholic version of Donzies. Turns out they have alcohol, and it's a pretty cool spot. And so I'm just excited once the weather gets nice to actually be able to go down there and hang out all summer long and bike along the trails and just do all this cool stuff that's going on in our city right now. One other thing that I have to tell you guys before I get out of here, and this is just insane to me, is that my daughter is graduating high school this week. Kennedy is graduating high school. She got into Penn State, and I just can't believe it. I can't believe that she's going to college and I'm still paying off my college loans. I can't believe how hard she worked, how smart she is. The fact that she got into Penn State, Maine, I'm just so proud of her. She worked her ass off. And, I was never a good student, in high school, and mostly because I was in fight or flight for 4 full years. I've talked about it on this pod before. I wasn't in a spot where I felt like I was in a position to learn. And so I just didn't even try. I didn't even try in high school. Grade point average was garbage. Picked a college to go to that didn't even require SAT scores. And so I'm beyond proud and blown away that my daughter just flipped a switch. She got into high school, and I hadn't been able to help her with her schoolwork for a solid 4 years, and she just locked in and set a goal for herself to get really good grades and did it completely independently of me. And, we butted heads over the years because we're basically the same person. When we have our mind made up about something, there isn't anything anybody could tell us. And I think about this a lot. I think about the tough times that we've had. And if I zoom way out, I can totally understand that is biologically necessary, and a crucial part of her development and really my development, because if it wasn't a butting of heads and it wasn't so difficult at times, I'd never let her go. I just keep her here. But the way we've been butting heads, I'm like, when are you leaving? Let me help you. I'll take you. I'll drop you off. It's just been tough. And anybody who's raised teenage girls knows it's like that movie, One Battle After Another. And you don't have to have seen the movie to understand the reference. I think the title does the heavy lifting. It's just one battle after another. I mean, I'm fighting for my life every single day. Like when I see them come out of school, I have to give myself a pep talk. I'm like, you're a good person. Everything is okay. The dinner you made is good. It's a good dinner. You're allowed to ask where your charger is. You're allowed to ask where your charger is. You can say no to their requests and still be worthy of love. You don't have to get Starbucks every day. You don't have to. There is no written law that says that you have to get refreshers after school every single day. And I sometimes have to laugh when people ask me about politics, because it's not that I don't care. I care about politics deeply. But it's hard to pay attention to what's going on down the street when your house is on fire. And most of the time, if somebody comes up to me and they're like, oh my God, did you see what ICE did this weekend? I'm like, no, I didn't. I've been trying to get my 17-year-old to empty the dryer for the whole weekend. Why? What happened? Was it bad? I bet it was pretty bad. I'm not gonna dip in to the Epstein files until I can find all the spoons. I don't know where they've taken them. Did they take them up into their room? Did they take them to their mother's house? Are they in the car? I don't know where my spoons are. So I'm not digging deep on any kind of conspiracy theories. And I'm not watching the news at night. I'm watching reruns of The Summer I Turned Pretty and making two separate dinners because neither one of them likes food that the other one likes. And so, it's been hard. I don't feel that I've done this phase well at all. I felt like when they were totally under my wing and I was, their fun broker, and I was curating their days and their weekends, I was cooking, man. Like I could figure out movies, and we were going to water parks and Kennywood and meeting up with friends and going to the park and meeting up with cousins. And then this phase, to be honest with you, it knocked my head off. I feel so ill-equipped, and it's really been hard for me. It's been a humbling experience because everybody tells you, they come back to you. And I have to trust that. I have to have faith in that. I've been praying on that because it feels so permanent. It's just such a departure from the way that it used to be. And I don't like who I am. Like, I don't want to be the phone cops. It's a terrible beat. I'm addicted to my phone too, so I'm a dirty cop. I acknowledge that. I face that head on. And I just feel like I've been getting dragged behind a boat for these last couple of years. So I can feel two things at once. I can be so excited for her in this next phase, and really in this next phase for her, but for us. I want to go back to just being totally supportive of her because, when you have to let go as a parent and just accept that all the lessons have been learned that are going to be learned, and that life is going to be the only way that they're going to learn from here on out. That is the hardest thing to do as a parent that I've experienced so far. And I'm ready for it, though. I really am. And, she's going to Penn State, and I'm excited for that. I can't wait to be absolutely livid about Nittany Lion football and sports for the next 4 years. It's going to be a fun summer. We're going to try to cram in a bunch of, family activities and vacations and try to squeeze every ounce of this that we can. And, I can't believe it, man. Like, I don't feel old enough to be a parent whose kid is old enough to go to college. Does that make sense? Like, I don't feel even like a man yet. I still feel like I'm a dude, and I definitely feel old in other moments. Like the other day, I was in the car, I had my AirPods in. I dropped my AirPods in between the seat. I go down, I pick the AirPods out of the seat. I get into the house, I open my hand. It's one AirPod and a cashew. I got all the way into my house thinking that an AirPod was the same thing and consistency and feeling and texture as a nut. So yeah, I'm old. I'm old enough now where if my socks have an L and an R on them, I want to get that right. Because I don't want to go out into the world and feel like I'm walking around with the wrong socks on. That's how old I am. Like, I'm old enough to want to read the directions to things. But I'm also old enough to not be able to read the font of the directions to things. So now I had to go to the store and get readers, but my eyes are so bad, I had to get readers to see the readers because I couldn't tell what kind of readers to get. So I'm definitely getting old in some areas. I mean, I'm doing mobility stretches before I go to bed every night, because motion is lotion. And if I don't loosen up my thoracic spine before I hit the hay, it feels like I slept on a bag of elbows. I'm basically warming up to go to bed now. And I'm trying to make it interesting. I'm wearing breakaway pajama pants. I'm putting on the Bulls intro music while I'm brushing my teeth. But it's sad, and I am old. But also, I don't feel old enough to be making arrangements to go up on family weekend for my daughter. What? Like, I should be getting my Hines Ward jersey out of the closet and drinking 40s, like behind, I don't know, that pizza shop that serves pizza out of a window on Beaver Ave. I don't know. I forget what it's called. But I feel like I was just hanging out there with my buddies like a couple of years ago. So that's wild. So stay tuned for the Penn State adventures with my daughter. And if you're a parent out there and you're watching this podcast and you have a daughter or a son that's either going to Penn State or has gone to Penn State, or even if you just have a kid going to any college, really, I need to hear from you. We gotta be here to support each other through these trying times, because this is a whole different level now, and I'm really not sure how I'm gonna deal with it. But also that does bring me to my next guest for our Pittsburgh podcast, who we're gonna have in here next week. And he's a person that I'm very excited to sit down with and have a conversation, hear his story, get some of his wisdom and just have some laughs, man. So thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode. Make sure you like and subscribe so you are alerted and locked and loaded when this next episode drops. And thank you for continuing to support our Pittsburgh podcast. We couldn't do this without you. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Thank you guys so much. Have a good one now. You hear? What? Who says that? I don't talk like that. Have a good one now, you hear? What a jagoff. Unbelievable. I can't do no more.